So after we talk about the inheritance relationship in this module, you should understand more about the class relationship. So inheritance relationship, actually you need to be careful before you really implement this inheritance relationship. You make sure your new class you try to implement using the existing class. They do need to have the is relationship. Otherwise, you shouldn't just using the inheritance relationship. So that's why here is relationship is very important. Because sometimes we can think about, right, square and rectangle is one kind of geometric object. Because they both have shape, they have some dimension. But sometimes if you feel like, oh, they have the dimension, then how about I have a tree? Tree have the height. Can I inherit a tree as the geometric object? No, because tree is not a shape of the geometric object. So that's why sometimes when we do the inheritance relationship, you cannot just because they have the common behavior or common attribute, they will just implement inheritance. So inheritance is relationship. Kind of they have the biologic bond. So they really came from the parent class for the child class. And also one thing is sometimes even we say subclass and superclass. But subclass is not a subset of the superclass. So in fact, a subclass usually contains more information and method than the superclass. And also even you can inherit everything from your superclass. We need to be careful. All the private data field in the superclass, they are not accessible outside the class. In the other words, even your child class cannot access the private data from the superclass. But one thing is, if sometimes you have your data, if you really want to share with your child class, right? So one thing is, we didn't really finish to talk about that. But we do have a modifier keyword specific for the inheritance relationship. That's protected keyword. So the protected keyword will available for the class in the same package and to the subclass. So we don't have chance to talk about the example for the protected keyword, but we will do next week when we talk about the polymorphism. So one thing is you just need to know. One thing is if we define data field or data attribute for the member method as private, they're only available within the current class. If you make that public, they can be available to all the classes in all different packages. So then if you really want for the inheritance relationship only, so then we can make those variable as the protected keyword. So that's why they can be available in the current class and for all their trial class. So then one more thing about the inheritance in Java. So some programming language allow you to derive a subclass from several classes. That means you have several superclass. However, this capability we say that's multiple inheritance. However, in Java, we don't allow multiple inheritance. So the Java class, so here we only talk about the class. So a Java class may inherit direct from only one superclass. So that means every Java class, when you do the class inheritance, right, you only have one parent class. This restriction known as a single inheritance. So that's in Java. Java is single inheritance. So this extend keyword you only can using for subclass to extend from only one parent class. So usually we say Java is a single inheritance. That's for the class level. So then if we want to know, for 2 more weeks later, we will talk about the interfaces. So this interfaces is kind of inheritance, but we talk about that interfaces inheritance. But here, if we talk about the class inheritance in Java, we only support single inheritance. So to finish this week module and this video, the last one I want to talk about is a final keyword. So the final keyword, actually, we can do a couple different ways. We can have final class. We can have a final method. Or we can have a final data attribute. So this final data attribute is we know as a constant number. So the constant number, if we want to specify pi, so what we can do is like this. If we want to specify a final variable pi as a constant number, so that's what we can do here. So you just need to specify a final keyword. So you still have your data type and variable name. So before that, if you put a final in the variable name, so that means you cannot reassign the value. So that's the way we do the constant variable definition in Java. So that's the final data attribute, right? Then our final, actually, we can specify in the method. So what is in the method? So then here, if the method is final, that means they prevent subclass from being override a method of a superclass. So in order to do that, you can create a final method by coding the final keyword. So that's how we look like. For example, this one actually is our CD account class. So the CD account class, if we don't allow the user can override the deposit and the withdraw method. So then you just make this method. Usually we are doing after the modifier keyword. So then you see you have public final. So after the public final, they cannot be override from their subclass. Because in our assignment 6, I will ask you to implement the CD class. The CD account class, they cannot be deposit, cannot withdraw more money. So that's why here you can just display the message only. But also, if we in the future we have any other account class want to inherit it from the CD account, you see, even they can inherit it in extent from this CD account, but they cannot overwrite the deposit and the withdraw because they are final method. So that's the final keyword associated with the method. Okay, so since we say you have final keyword for the final method, final data attribute, final variable, right? So then how about the final class? So actually the final class is prevent class to be extended. So if you have your class, you put its final, they cannot have any subclass to extend it from them. So for example, the math class is final class. The string builder, string buffer class, they are also final classes. So the final class, we can see the example like here. We do have computer class. So then we have tablet extends from the computer class. So for example, if we decide the tablet cannot be extended from any other class. So before your class keyword, then just put the final. So then after you have final, right, that means this class cannot be extended anymore. And also you can see here they have the constructor function. Even the method is the final method. They cannot be overwrite. So then they have some other information. So that's we talk about the final keyword. So your final keyword can associate with class, can associate with method, and your final keyword can associate with your data attribute. And here have some information. You see you have question about reading that. So post your question in the discussion if you need any help or clarification. So that's our module 6.